Hey, this is Walter Jones.
This is Austin St. John.
And you're listening to
Ranger Danger.
Go, go, Ranger Danger. Ooh. Go, go, Ranger Danger. Ooh. Go, go, Ranger Danger. Matt and Michael's Ranger Danger.
Welcome to Ranger Danger Year 3. Woo! Crowd goes wild.
Go wild, guys.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah,
You nailed
great,
it.
Great wild.
Great wilding, I think, is the correct nomenclature there.
Yeah.
Now, if you are happening to be joining us right now, this is your first episode, you're joining on Year 3 for some reason, welcome. This is the podcast where we watch episodes of the TV series Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. After that, we have a bit of a yak about it, I guess I'd say, a bit of a discussion, a bit of a chinwag.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, okay. Did I take it too far?
I think so.
I apologise.
That's fine.
Specifically today, we're going to be watching episode 104 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's entitled Return of the Green Ranger, Part 1.
Yep.
Now, Michael, which part of the Green Ranger do you think will be returning this week?
Oh, I mean, this is the first part, probably
Yeah.
the helmet.
Yeah, but that doesn't give you a lot of mobility. I think if, like, the legs return first, at least he could participate.
Yeah, but it could float around like a ghost. Ooh, I'm the Green Ranger. I actually have no idea what's going to happen in this episode.
I don't either.
Like, as far as I was concerned, we were completely 100% done with the Green Ranger.
Oh, Michael, we're never done with the Green Ranger.
Well, I mean, other than, like, the times that I'm kind of aware that that character and costume comes back in the future.
Yep.
I thought that we were
Done
and finished.
Yep.
So I have no idea.
No, I'm excited to see what happens. And we're sort of we're coming at the end of season 2 rapidly.
Yes.
So I'm excited to see if this plays into that at all, if there's some sort of, like, a sense of foreboding that'll be built in. Probably not,
Yeah.
but I can hope.
Yeah.
All right, well, before we do that, Michael, I should probably tell you and our audience, more them, less you, about our website. That's www.rangerdangerpodcast.com. That's where you can check out our show notes, find all our episodes in various formats, check out the Ranger Danger creature feature and the Ranger Danger sword board, which has been not added to in a little while.
There haven't been many swords in a while, Matt.
Maybe this is the episode. We also have an email address where you can send us emails. That's rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com. We love emails.
Yeah, a bunch of people have sent us emails. I think we'll get to them next week because we've got a couple of things to talk about this week.
Yeah, we will dive into the Space Dumpster and retrieve some mail next week.
Yep.
You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google+, TuneIn, other places, Google+, plus Google, and more Google+. We also have a shop.
We have a shop.
rangerdangerpodcast.com/shop is where you can buy stuff like mugs and cool laptop skins that I'm looking at right now because it's on Michael's computer, and it is the shit. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about before we watch today's episode, Michael?
Some Power Rangers comic news, Matt.
Yes, I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, so early in the year, Boom Studios announced that they had the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic license.
Yes.
And would be producing some sort of comic. We have a bit more information about that now.
We do.
So there's going to be an issue 0 in January, which I think is a dumb number, because why is it not just issue 1? But sure.
I like 0 issues.
Why?
Because, like, number 1 is when the story starts, right? But if you
Sure.
want a prelude, a prologue, I think that should be issue 0. It's like a prologue in a book, right? It's not chapter 1, it's the prologue.
Okay. I disagree, but I'm incredibly strict about numbering conventions. So
I understand. You did go to math camp.
damn right I did. So they've also announced that it's going to be written by a guy called Kyle Higgins.
Who I am a big fan of. If you read comics, you may be aware of Mr. Higgins' work. He has done an extensive run on Nightwing. Really great work there. He was one of the writers on the weekly Batman Eternal series. Batman Gates of Gotham, which he co-wrote with Scott Snyder, is something that I love to bits. So if you're looking to check out some of his work beforehand, I'd really recommend that. He also has a creator-owned series, which the name I'm blanking on at the moment.
It's called Cowl?
That's it. Which I haven't read, but I've heard is very good. And Kyle Higgins is also just a really great guy, like a very nice dude and clever and does great interviews. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to him on the title, especially coming from Boom, because they're a cool company as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. There's no artist announced yet. That'll be kind of the other big
Announcement.
bit of announcement. It'll be because I guess with a license like Adventure Time that Boom has, the goal is to emulate the style of the TV show.
Yeah.
But you can't really do that in something like a Power Rangers.
No, you can't. It'll be interesting to see what tack they take there.
I feel like it should be, they should get like an American artist to draw half of it, and the other half should be manga with American dialogue balloons on top.
Yeah, like poorly pasted over the top.
Yeah. And occasionally just panels like manga style inserted in the middle of otherwise American sections.
That would be really great.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no way you'd ever do that as the way to make this comic, but just one issue, you guys can have that for free if you want to do that.
That has to be like a special, right?
Surely.
Like the first anniversary issue or like annual, you know what I mean?
If there have been any Sentai manga. Like, there's obviously manga that take inspiration from Sentai.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there have been any, you know, direct adaptations or specials or anything like that.
I kind of feel like there's been a Masked Rider manga, but I might be making
I
that up.
believe Masked Rider might have originally been a manga.
We're both very unsure about this.
I mean, we're delving into two separate things that we don't really know a lot about.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I should say Kamen Rider, not Masked Rider. That's the American.
Kamen Rider did start on television.
Yep.
But the manga adaptation was also featured around the same time. So they're quite similar.
Yeah, I just had a quick look at my phone. It looks like there's 58 chapters of a series here, so that's a decent run for Kamen Rider. Yeah, so look, it's not unprecedented.
Yeah. It's exciting. I'm really excited.
Maybe we should like try and get onto Kyle Higgins and talk to him and be like, hey, got this idea, you have it for free, just make it happen.
Yeah, so I guess we'll probably, when that comes out in January, we'll probably talk about that.
Yep.
But until then, we're really excited, and I hope they pick a rad artist.
Yeah. Do you have any personal picks? I mean, it's not going to be Stuart Immonen.
I mean, Stuart Immonen is my personal pick for every comic in the world ever.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, just someone out of left field would be good, so, especially someone with maybe like a less comic-y style.
When you say less comic-y...
I mean, like less traditional and like...
Okay.
Imagine if it was done by someone who like works in watercolours or like if it just looked completely different to anything you've seen before.
I think someone like... I'm going to screw up the pronunciation. Like Dustin Nguyen
Yep.
would be really cool because he has a very distinct style that I think when you get to the Megazordy stuff, it would look unlike anything else.
I'm trying to remember who drew the Spider-Verse spin-off that Gerard Way wrote.
Yeah, I know who you mean, but I can't remember either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Look that up, guys. Google that one. It'll be in the show notes.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the return of the Green Ranger time.
Yeah, let's go do that.
Do you have any guesses?
I'm so sure Tommy gets turned evil for a little bit, and he has to fight in his subconscious, and there's like a White Ranger, Green Ranger battle, and the Green Ranger represents his dark side, and probably has his hair out while the White Ranger has his hair up.
We should mention this is a 3-parter, so this part will probably set everything up. The second part will do nothing.
Absolutely
And the
nothing.
third part will poorly resolve it.
Yeah, and
But
make us cry.
I guess
Not in the like, oh, that was so moving. In the, oh God, what are we doing with our lives way.
In our 2-year anniversary special, I created an episode where like a friend of the Power Rangers gets evil powers.
Yep.
That could be a way to bring the Green Ranger returns.
It's too clever. Sorry, I don't mean to shoot you down, but...
Probably, yeah.
And I can't imagine while Jason David Frank is on the show, he would ever let anyone else be
The Green Ranger.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that I reckon after he left, the first Green Ranger got an angry call from him, like, dude, what do you think you're doing?
Yep.
I'm the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
Alright.
Cool. Let's do it. Let's go watch Return of the Green Ranger Part 1. We will return in just a moment. You're welcome to watch it yourself. You can do that on Netflix in most countries if you have a subscription, which also give you a bit more context. And we'll see you in just a moment.
Alright, bye guys.
We're back. Boy, is there ever a lot to unpack in that episode.
I thought, Matt, that after 2 years of doing this show, 2 full years, this show could not surprise us anymore.
It was pretty surprising.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
I don't even, where do we... I guess we start at the start of the episode, but I don't even know how to unpack all of the different elements of what went on here.
I think we just got to take it as we go.
Right.
Okay, so they're at school.
Yeah. Although, apart from Miss Appleby's classroom, it doesn't look anything like Angel Grove High used to.
No, weirdly it looks like Australia, Matt.
It does.
It's just a really weird decision to not continue that they're in Australia thing.
Yeah.
To send the characters back to Angel Grove, but
Not be able to shoot.
not the show.
Yeah.
It's,
But it does, make it feel like a real school for the first time in a long time.
yes.
Because we've suddenly seen another table. Like an outside table at this school.
Yeah. So Miss Appleby says that the subject of their assignment is which period in history they'd like to have lived in.
Yeah.
They've got a 3-day weekend as well.
Yeah, we got one of those coming up.
Yeah.
Woo woo.
3-day weekends are good.
3-day weekend represent.
Yeah. So I wrote down when everybody's favourite time would be.
Yeah.
Aisha never says one. Kimberly's is last year when there was a sale on and she was sick and she couldn't go.
I love that she's consistent.
Rocky's is Viking times because he always loved those books.
And look, I support Rocky in this one. I would love for him to go back and be horribly murdered by Vikings. That's my ideal situation.
Tommy's is the time of King Arthur here.
Yeah,
Which-
he says it'd be so cool, and then does a karate motion like that was a thing that King Arthur did.
Matt, I'm pretty sure King Arthur was a karate ninja. I think everybody knows that.
I'm sure that's what Tommy thinks. He's like, well, they made him king. He must be the best at karate.
Yeah, he was a warrior, right? So how many backflips could he do? What else have I got? Oh,
What?
Billy would go back to the 30s and be Einstein's assistant.
That was kind of cool.
I think he'd be better than Einstein.
Yeah, he could show Einstein how to make
A flying nuclear car. Yeah, absolutely. And Adam would like to go back to the Renaissance time.
Yeah.
Because everything seemed romantic.
And again, I support Adam in this because he'd probably be more appreciated back then. I think he would be does he do art at some point? Have we
I don't
seen
know,
that?
maybe.
I might be making that up.
You might just be relating parts of people that you've loved into a character
That's
you love.
certainly true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, I would love Rocky to go back and get killed. Would love Adam to go back to Renaissance and just have a good time. But that's not what we get.
So Lord Zedd says if he had his way, he'd send them back in time.
Yeah, which he has done.
Relatively recently.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
So Lord Zedd, he starts talking about, let me see if I got this straight, a ghost
Yeah.
that conjured up a wizard
Yeah.
with time powers.
Yes.
Why? It's just, it adds another level of fucked up to this episode where Rita goes and bows before, not to get ahead of ourselves, a skull with eyes on an altar in space.
Yeah.
It's just...
To me, I think they knew they had a fucked up, incoherent plot in their hands, and they made it extra fucked up to kind of cover it a bit, and it kind of works. In a weird way.
Yeah, I do
They
know.
threw so much ridiculous shit at the wall. You're kind of all right, I guess we'll just roll with this.
I guess we're doing a ghost summons a wizard, creates an evil... Yeah, I guess, sure,
Yeah.
okay.
I love in that scene too, it's Lord Zedd talking to Goldar about how his wife is unreasonable.
Yeah. Oh, the ghost was a friend of Rita's or
Yeah.
someone who Rita knew, and she's a bit touchy at the moment, so he doesn't want to, make her go and summon the ghost.
Yeah. It's so good because it's the first time in the show I've ever felt bad for Goldar. Because Lord Zedd gets Goldar to go and be the go-between the two of
Goldar
them.
is now a kid stuck between two parents who are fighting.
Yeah. It's so good.
Lord Zedd says, remind Rita that no wife of mine will be allowed to fail me.
He is not going to do that. Spoiler warning.
And then he says, why did I marry her? And Goldar, under his breath, goes, good question. And Lord Zedd says, what? And Goldar says, I said, why don't we send them back in time? And Lord Zedd says, no, we're already doing that. Way ahead of you.
This episode has some genuinely funny moments.
Yeah.
And I appreciate this episode a whole lot.
I think this is going to be like the Lord Zedd status quo moving forward.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that everybody kind of went, oh shit, he's scaring kids. Let's make him like when daddy's angry, I guess, which is less scary.
Well, I think it's less scary when there's someone who, like, has power over him.
Yes.
And in this situation, it's Rita.
So Rita goes,
Yeah.
and so we get a shot of space.
Yes. Like a galaxy.
And then we're in a creepy room
Yeah.
with a skull with eyeballs on like an altar.
And the altar has some, like, crystals on it.
Of course it does, Matt. It's an evil altar.
Yeah, I guess.
And Rita is kneeling in front of it, basically just having a chat.
Yeah. Except this chat involves, while the skull is talking to her, it shooting bolts of energy out of its eyes, and she's just, like, randomly shooting energy out of her hands and throwing her hands back and forth to shoot energy while they're just having a chat. Like, the energy doesn't do anything. She's just there, like, setting off fireworks with her hands while they have a bit of a catch-up.
This isn't, as far as I can tell, Japanese footage. This is something that they decided that they needed.
Yeah. And put a decent amount of money on for Power Rangers based on the effects, right?
Yeah,
And it's all the weirder because this weird skull and Rita have a conversation like they're old buddies and they're just catching up.
Yeah.
Like the tone of this is like, oh, I haven't seen Joe in 6 months, but we'll go have a coffee.
Joe is a space skull who can summon an evil wizard.
Yeah.
Also, he's meant to be a ghost, but he is clearly a physical skull.
Yeah. Not a ghostly skull. You could pick him up and play ball with him.
So basically, they say, I can summon the Wizard of Deception.
Yep.
And he can send the Rangers back in time. But as long as they've got the White Ranger, you can never win.
He's too cool. He's basically...
That's
Tony.
basically what he says, yeah. But he's quick thinking, wise, and strong.
I mean, that's 1/3 correct.
Yeah, I mean, even the character has been shown to be absent-minded and not necessarily the brightest member of the Power Rangers.
Yes.
Okay, so a meteor flies towards Earth
Yep.
and lands in what is definitely part of Sydney, in the bushes.
Yep.
It's the Wizard of Deception.
Yeah. What a creepy dude. Except he's not once you get to know him.
The Wizard of Deception looks like, all I could think was he looks like a charmed bad guy. Or
Yep.
like a Xena bad guy.
Yep.
A bad guy who everyone kind of understands is like, this is the best we could do on the budget. But
It's kind of like the rabbit thing from Donnie Darko, but without the ears, and behind its eyes and mouth is a roiling energy fire.
yeah, so everything except the head and the hands is black robe.
Yep.
The hands are like regular human hands, but a bit black.
Yep.
The head is like what you imagine the skull of the Predator to look like.
Yeah, that's a
Crossed
good
with
description.
like a Halloween pumpkin jack-o'-lantern.
Yep.
But all the holes in the head are just CG'd energy effect.
Yeah, energy / fire, I'd say.
What the fuck is this
I
show?
don't know. And like, he looks terrifying, but he's another guy too. He's just kind of like an average Joe.
Yeah, he looks terrifying, but like every time he appears, he groans
He's
and
kind of exasperated, really. Which is great. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but it's entertaining.
he brainwashes Bulk and Skull, who come around the corner.
Yeah.
And he gives them just a regular pair of scissors.
That's maybe my favourite moment of the episode, when the incredibly evil and powerful space wizard thing, from under his robes, just pulls out a cheap pair of scissors. Not like, good scissors that an artist would use. It's like you went to the bargain store.
No, it's like they realised on the day that they didn't have the scissors, and they went to like a corner shop,
Yep.
and that happened to have a shitty pair of scissors.
I'm sure that like they went to the corner shop and there were some good steel scissors there, and they looked at the budget and they're like, nah, it's going to have to be the cheap blue scissors.
We could buy 3 pairs of cheap scissors.
Yeah.
So their job is to go and get a sample of Tommy's hair.
Yep.
Which the wizard needs to create an evil Green Ranger.
Yes.
So he says to them, now go. And they say, yes, master. And he says, now go. And they say, Yes, master. He says, now go, and does magic on their feet.
And then they walk away.
And then he just rolls his eyes in as much as you can roll your eyes when your eyes are glowing fire cavities. And just goes, humans.
I love it. I love it.
There's another bit where he gives Bulk the scissors, and Skull is just making scissors with his fingers.
Oh, yeah, that's later when they're sneaking
No, he's
up.
doing it now as
Oh,
well.
is he?
He does it the whole time.
So good.
It's just great because if I give them 2 pairs of scissors, I've only got 1 pair of scissors.
Yeah.
So, back on the moon,
Yep.
we get basically Rita goes to Finster and gloats. I hope that that's what happens from now on is Lord Zedd has Goldar and Rita has Finster. And they just don't ever talk to each other. They just relay messages back and forth.
That'd be a cool dynamic,
Yeah.
I think.
I was kind of imagining that they would like have 2 thrones or something like that. I was imagining that something would change rather than...
Oh my no, they're not going to pay for another throne. See, I think that is true both in universe and out of universe.
Yeah.
Like, the Power Rangers production doesn't have another throne in the budget. And Lord Zedd isn't going to go out and find another throne.
No, there's a perfectly good secondary throne room downstairs.
Yeah.
She can have that and I'll have my man cave. That's fine. That's the way it's going to be. I've already installed 1 rotating throne. If you have to install 2, we have to build another rotating mechanism.
And they might, like, bump into each other when they're trying to turn.
It'll be like the chairs on The Voice. It's just going to be a pain in the ass.
That's right. And I think as a rule in your life, you want to get further away from the voice.
Speaking of, I know we're getting away from it. Apparently, on The Voice,
Yeah.
the 2 Madden brothers, who are the ones who were in Good Charlotte,
Okay.
they have 1 double chair that spins around. They don't each have a chair that spins around.
That seems demeaning.
Right, doesn't it? It's like each of you is half a judge.
Yeah.
It's great. Anyway, I'll make sure to put that in the show notes for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think someone says something about the evil skull wizard being Lord Zedd's old rival.
No, it's Zordon's nemesis.
Ah, Zordon's old rival. That's right. Which it's another one of those things where Zordon has so many old rivals that he never brings up. Like, he must know they're alive. So at what point does he not go, hey guys, quick rundown, you've got a 3-day weekend, I figured it would take a day, I'd run you through this list of people that I've angered and are still alive, probably going to come up at
Look,
some
guys,
point.
here's the deal. I know where the Wizard of Deception is.
Yeah.
You guys have got 3 days off.
Yeah.
What do you say we just go and deal with him preemptively before he comes back, steals your hair, clones you into evil Power Rangers?
That'd be really embarrassing for everybody.
Yeah, so let's...
You
No.
could probably just put Saba in like a car and send him to whatever planet. Saba can go stab the guy, come home.
Yeah,
Don't you have to worry the Power Rangers.
Alpha basically goes, hey, there's an evil wizard thing. And Zordon goes, oh yeah, that's the Wizard of Deception. I know him.
Yeah. Not even Alpha knows, who's like been his like servant for how many thousands of years?
So basically, Bulk and Skull try to steal some of Tommy's hair.
Yeah.
But because they're Bulk and Skull, they fail miserably.
This is while Tommy and Kimberly are having a conversation that almost acknowledges the fact that they have a romantic relationship
Almost barely.
for the first time in how many 100 episodes?
Maybe 60?
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. But it's a pretty funny comedy beat because they sneak up behind Tommy and Kimberly. Tommy and Kimberly obviously know they're there and just turn around like, hey, what are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, nothing, and then scamper away. And Tommy and Kimberly just like, oh yeah, that's probably a thing Bulk and Skull would do.
Yeah. This is not out of character for Bulk and Skull in the slightest.
No, which makes it like it kind of works in a weird way.
So Tommy walks off.
Yeah.
The wizard is still just standing half in the bushes.
There's a lot of standing in the bushes in this episode, just as a heads up.
There really is. I hope that becomes Power Rangers' new thing, is bad guys half standing in bushes.
Like, not hiding.
No,
Just
no.
like ankles up.
Just inconveniently close to the bush.
Yeah. Because I would say probably 7 different shots.
Yep.
Plus one of a bad guy in a tree.
Yep.
So it's you get a range of foliage options here.
So Tommy bumps into the Wizard of Deception,
Yeah.
who summons some putties.
Yeah.
Tommy fights some putties, and the other Rangers get summoned and fight the putties. This is a perfectly normal putty fight, except Adam is so fucking rad.
He just has this moment of going ape shit and starts flipping around And does, like, at the end of his little sequence, does this amazing spin kick. I don't know if the footage is sped up or what, but God, it's cool.
It just...
He's the coolest
He's
Ranger.
the coolest Ranger.
Just trying to compose myself a bit.
Yeah.
Fan
Put
myself.
it back in your pants.
Yeah.
Deep breaths, you alright?
Yep.
So,
I'm good.
At the end of the fight, the putties grab Tommy.
Yep.
The wizard zaps him, so he's kind of knocked out.
Yep.
They grab the putties, pull out a pair of scissors,
He's lying on the ground at this point, and the putties are over him with a pair of pretty sharp-looking scissors.
and they bring the scissors down
Yep.
next to him,
Yep.
where they cut off some of his hair.
Yep.
The whole reason for this was that Tommy's too effective as a Power Rangers character, and they need to get rid of him.
Yep.
It could have just been done right now.
That episode definitely could have ended with Tommy bleeding out because he had scissors in his throat.
Dead 100%, unbring back. They could have cut off his head.
Yep. No one could have done
They could
anything
have,
about it.
I mean, I assume the wizard has, like, evil magic powers. He could have atomized him, or, like...
Any number of things.
They just cut off his hair, and then everyone goes, right, job done.
Yeah, we'll leave him alone. We don't want to be mean about it. Let's go. And then they disappear.
They do.
And then Tommy's like, oh, I have a headache, but that could have gone worse.
So, meanwhile, the wizard throws the hair on the ground,
Yep.
zaps it with his... It's like a staff, but it's really only the length of his forearm.
It is kind of floppy on the end.
It's like a large wand.
Yeah.
So he creates an evil Green Ranger
Yes.
who's wearing like a green bandana and green pants.
Yeah, so it's Tommy with green clothes on. And the wizard says to him, welcome to your new reality. Which is a weird thing to say to hair. Is he saying, I know you were hair before, now you're not hair, I'm going to need you to acclimatise to that quite rapidly. Which he does, to the hair's credit. Can we call him Hair Tommy from now on?
I mean, I guess, but that doesn't really distinguish him. One thing that's kind of cool is Evil Tommy's shirt is like a check, like many of the Power Rangers are wearing these days.
Yeah.
But it's black, white, red, and green, which are all the colours he's going to end up having worn. I mean,
It's
there's
definitely
absolutely
not-
no chance it's anything other than a coincidence.
Yeah.
But it is kind of nice.
It is cool, yeah.
All right, so Billy talks to Zordon
Yeah.
and says, what's the deal? And Billy tells everyone that Zordon said the wizard can create a deception that becomes reality.
Which basically just means the wizard can create reality. There's no need for that middle step there.
To which Aisha says, like a nightmare that can come true.
Which is not helpful.
No, it doesn't add anything to the understanding at all.
It doesn't clear anything
It's
up.
like a balloon and then something bad happens. So Rocky steps forth and delivers maybe the worst thing Rocky has said in this show's history. He says, about this wizard, that's a great way to start a sentence, but he follows it up with, I think if we all stay alert, we can beat him.
He makes an announcement of it. He steps forward in front of him. He's like, all right, everybody, I have something to say. If we stay alert, we can beat him. At which point I yelled at the television because I hate him so much.
I mean...
Yeah, what do you say in that situation? I guess. I wasn't planning on not being alert, but thanks.
My goal was to kind of, have a nap, maybe have a couple of beers, and then we'd go fight the wizard, but I guess we should maybe stay alert.
Yeah, thanks for that, Rocky, you douche.
So... they kind of all split up. Tommy's going to go home and take care of his headache.
Yeah.
Over meters away, maybe,
3 meters, I'd say.
the evil Green Ranger is half standing in some bushes.
Yeah. And half is very generous. It really is maybe his shins are covered by foliage. Everything else is very visible. But Tommy, real Tommy, does not notice Hair Tommy standing in the bushes as he walks away.
And then evil Tommy puts a twig in his mouth.
Uh-huh.
Like he's Huckleberry Finn.
Yep. And then that's his thing.
It's his thing.
That's how, the green shirt might be a giveaway, but it's actually the fact that he chews on grass. That's how you tell.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. It's literally the closer to this episode.
Yeah.
The cliffhanger is something happens and Tommy puts a twig into his mouth.
If you're a fan of twigs, this is a hard episode for you.
So the evil Green Ranger goes to the city limits which looks suspiciously like just a park next to a stadium.
Yeah, see, they say city limits, but there's a huge stadium, so I suspect...
The stadium's on the city limit.
I suspect that the city goes a little further than the sign.
Yeah, but it's close to the limits.
I don't think it is.
Oh, so...
I'm also pretty sure that is the entertainment centre in Sydney.
It definitely could be. And there's a sign that says Angel Grove city limits, so you know.
Yeah.
So he messages the other rangers.
I'd just like to say too, that sign's not on a road, as is the norm. It's in a park.
Oh yeah, well I mean, where else would you put it, you know?
You know, all the people that arrive in cities via the park.
That's where I go first. So he messages the rangers and says something's happening, come to the city limits.
That's Grass Tommy, by the way. Hair Tommy, sorry.
Yeah, Evil Tommy.
Hair Grass, Evil Tommy.
So he tells them Zordon said we should all meet here.
Yeah.
And Billy goes, well, I don't know what's going on. Let's call Zordon. Tommy's like, no, he told us to come here. And Billy's like, right.
And then Adam, for some reason, is like, yeah, Evil Tommy's right. Zordon said something, and that means we should not double check.
Yeah.
Which is like, all right.
And then the wizard is in the tree.
And they didn't see him. He's like 4 feet off the ground, I think, in the middle of a very open tree. And it's just like, surprise!
The only acceptable explanation is that he teleported in at that moment.
Out of frame.
Because if he was standing there, they are all idiots.
Oh, they're just blind. They would have to be actually blind. It's a great moment.
Adam instantly goes, I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's morphin time.
Yeah.
And Tommy grabs his wrist and goes, no. And everyone's like, huh. Oh, all right.
Why, though, Tommy?
And then Tommy's like, sinister look on my face. And they're like, oh no.
Tommy's gone evil. Rocky's the first one to believe, too, that it's just Tommy's being a dick. He's like, it's Tommy. He's turned against us.
And got changed since 10 minutes ago.
Like, they exist in a world where people get turned evil on a semi-regular basis.
So often.
But Rocky's like, nah, he was probably this guy, evil guy all along. No faith, that one.
So the wizard does blurry camera magic.
Yep.
I keep expecting the episode to be over.
Oh, yeah. It seemed like it went really long, but I think that's because it is actually packed with content.
There's a bunch of points where I was like, oh, okay, that's the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going.
Uh-huh.
I suspect next week we'll have absolutely no content in it.
Yeah, because they put everything in the first episode.
So basically, they look around. The wizard has sent them to Old Sydney Town for a fun vacation.
So for our non-Australian listeners, Old Sydney Town was a quote-unquote theme park.
Yeah.
That was basically just Sydney in the late 1700s, roughly.
Yeah, you guys know about like historical reenactors.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of them in America.
Yeah.
So it was like that, but in a theme park where people were paid to do it, and mostly excursions of school kids would go on, I guess you call them field trips, to like learn about what Australia was like in the 1700s.
Yeah. I say theme park, there were no rides or really fun things of any sort. Just lots of old stuff, or fake old stuff, and people pretending to be old people.
Yeah. When Old Sydney Town closed disappointingly in 2003...
It sure did.
The operators of Old Sydney Town blamed the closure on what they called the instant gratification generation that demands computer games and thrill rides rather than a leisurely stroll throughout history.
Yeah, it's a problem. People want fun things.
Yeah, I went to Old Sydney Town on a school excursion in probably year 6, so like, I don't know, 10 or 11 or however. It's terrible.
It's not a good time.
It's like, you want to make damper? What's damper? Oh, it's like bread, but shit.
Yeah. It's what we made before we knew how to make bread.
Yeah. It turns out that in the past, we did a lot of things worse and have made them a lot better.
Yeah, and it's no fun to revisit those old things before they were good.
Yeah.
Poor Rangers.
Yeah.
They have to go to that shitty theme park.
Oh, Old Sydney Town is pretending to be colonial Angel Grove.
Which is hilarious because there's a for real gum tree right in the middle of town.
I'm curious as to whether Americans watching it notice how Australian all the locations are.
Yeah, like the trees and general foliage are very... I think that's the big giveaway. Like, it's obviously a different place, but the fact that the Yeah, the greenery is so vividly different.
Yeah.
Must have been a giveaway.
I mean, you'd think so, but who knows?
Who knows? Then there's that like weird old ship in the background.
Yeah, the British, I guess, have arrived.
Yeah. I mean, it was a British colony at that time. No.
Australia.
America. When was the Revolutionary War?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wish we had an American here.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I'll look it up because that's kind of him. We've talked in the past about Angel Grove being an alternate history version of Los Angeles that the British colonized instead of the Spanish.
Yep.
This definitely supports that.
It does, actually.
The American Revolutionary War was 1775 to 1783.
Okay, so it's possible this is like 1773.
Yeah, so Australia was landed on by the first convicts in, I want to say 1788.
I believe that's correct, yep.
So, you know, it's about the right time for it to be, for the British to be in America.
Yeah.
So within a couple decades.
Yep. Which is surprisingly accurate for this show.
Yeah. I mean, other than the fact that everybody has a horribly Australian accent.
I would say horribly. I like our accent.
Yeah, it's so out of place.
Yeah. There definitely wasn't any Australians in America at that time because there weren't Australians. Of that sort.
No.
Like there were Aboriginal Australians, obviously, but
there were
that's
probably
not
not many of them in America.
Yeah.
So because they've appeared out of nowhere, a woman thinks that they're witches. And she yells, "Witches!" And everybody screams and starts running away.
Yeah.
Historically, that's not my belief of how witches were dealt with.
I don't think so. Also, I'm pretty sure guys weren't considered witches, which is sexist, and I don't support that, but I don't think that's the correct nomenclature in this instance.
It's unclear as to whether everyone starts running away because they're witches or because some soldiers are getting off the boat.
Yeah, there's just... I don't know what the deal is with the soldiers. Do they come off the boat because of the witches? Were they just going to invade the town anyway?
Maybe they were the British just coming to check up.
And be dicks.
Yeah.
Start a revolution because with their dickery.
Something about tea and something.
Yeah, they're going to tax some tea.
Yeah. I don't know enough about America's history to...
I've played a lot of Assassin's Creed. I know a fair bit.
All right, fair enough.
I read those little entries.
So basically the Power Rangers run away.
Yeah.
And they're kind of behind a barn and it's pretty flat out there, so they don't really have many places to hide. And then a girl says, "Quick, get in here."
It's a good Australian accent, considering that you have an Australian accent.
Oh, boy. So they hide in a barn.
Yeah.
And the soldiers just run past and start talking about how they vanished and they don't even think maybe they opened a door and went inside.
That's why the British lost the war, Michael.
So back in the present,
Yep.
Tommy walks past a girl we've never seen before and we'll never see again.
Yep.
And says, "Hey, I don't know, Lisa or something, have you seen the other guys?" And she goes, "No, have you checked Ernie's?" Which is a very
good
sensible-
question.
that is the other place they could be, yes. Yeah. If we're meant to assume that this is the same park they spend the rest of their time in,
Yep.
despite looking drastically different, Ernie's is the only other location they might be at.
That's right.
And
Or maybe Billy's garage.
So, Evil Tommy is standing in the bushes. Again.
For no reason! Because this is the point where he reveals himself. He doesn't need to be hidden. In fact, his whole point is he's unhiding himself. But like, maybe he just has really gross ankles or something. You don't ever want to see that, so...
So, he steps out of the bushes and says, "Allow me to introduce myself." And good Tommy says, "What's going on? Who are you?" And he says, "I'm the Green Ranger. Put a stick in my mouth. Cut to credits."
Dun, dun, dun. Also, backing up the fact that Tommy is not as wise as Lord Zedd seems to think he is. Because after Evil Tommy says, "Allow me to introduce myself," Good Tommy asks, "Who are you?" Just wait a second. He's about to introduce himself.
I've got to give Jason David Frank some credit.
Yeah.
They are clearly two different characters.
Yeah.
And that is because he's just like overhamming evil Tommy.
Yeah.
But
It works.
it's a distinction, that was what he was like when he was the evil Green Ranger.
Yeah. Yeah, he's played the character before.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at it, so...
And so that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, what will happen to
So-
that bit of grass that's in his mouth?
The Rangers are stuck back in time.
Yep.
There's an evil Green Ranger.
Yep.
There's a wizard on the loose.
Yep.
Bulk and Skull might still be mind controlled.
They could be dead for all we know.
The Zordon is completely useless at this point.
Yep, as ever.
And the Power Rangers have an assignment to do and they're already one day down and stuck in the past.
That's right. They probably won't be able to do their essay back in 1773, I think we agreed on.
Yeah, they might, I don't know, quills? When were pens invented?
But like, where do you go to the library for research,
Well, yeah, but they could, if they just say that the time they'd like to have lived in is 1773,
Well, that's fine, but it's kind of dishonest. Like, they already picked their topics, right?
I guess.
Like, the essay question is, where would you want to have lived, not where did you get transported by an evil wizard? And it's not like Kimberly can just, go to the library and look up what life is going to be like in 1993
Yeah.
when the sale is on. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, big cliffhangers. What's going to happen, Michael?
Well, next week,
Yep.
nothing.
Yep.
And then in the third week, a hasty and terrible conclusion that doesn't really answer any questions.
Yay! We've got that to look forward to, and so do you, listeners.
It's too early to add the Wizard of Deception to the Ranger Danger creature feature,
It is, but I'm feeling pretty good. I got a good
If he
feeling about
does
this one.
one more ridiculous thing, he'll get pretty high up the list.
All right, I'm gonna say this right now.
Yeah, go for it.
If he stands in the bushes at least 2 more times, he's going in the top 10.
Okay.
That's the promise I'm making.
All right. I mean, he's got 2 more episodes to do it.
He's got plenty of time. He did a lot in the first episode, so he only has to just get it across the line at the end.
Matt, I have a question.
Yeah.
If he, instead of doing that,
Yeah.
holds a bird in his hand,
Yeah.
would that be worth 2 in the bush?
I don't think so. Not in this instance.
I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a good one. You did well.
Okay, I guess we'll be back next. What did you think of this episode? Where would you rank it on our 3-point scale?
Oh, hard Adam. Loved it. It's one of those episodes where they're pretty incapable, at least in this era, largely, of making a good episode. The best they can do is make a crazy one.
Yep.
And when they do, I wholly support it.
It's definitely a crazy one. So I'm kind of excited to see what happens next week.
So am I, and that's a weird position to be in.
Yeah, all right. We'll be back then. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Ranger Danger Year 3.
Woo!
Starting with a good one, which is exciting.
Or a crazy one, at least, which is how we live our lives.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.